What's up? A to Z Sports here live on a Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend, a big weekend. Cinco de Mayo is today, so hope everybody is celebrating accordingly. But we're going to have a fun show today and talking about a risky Will Levis plan. As Easton has his list of topics for the week for his articles at A to Z Sports.com. And this one really caught my eye. Was the Titans plan to wait and trade Will Levis after the draft could be ruined by one other NFL quarterback. I think this is a risk. I know Easton does too. I have no idea who the one quarterback is. I don't know how this could blow up in the Titans' face. So I'm also in the dark with the same way the audience is, but going to have a good conversation on what happens with Will Levis as the Titans have rookie minicamp at the end of this week that we are starting now. So we'll talk about some options the Titans may have with Will Levis, what doors are still open potentially for the Titans to move Will Levis. And so the draft has come and gone. A lot of teams have filled out their quarterback depth, but we'll find out if Will Levis still has a landing spot. So we'll do that and then talk about what if they can't move on from Will Levis. And then our new Rock and Rando game, Easton gets his first shot at trying to answer this. I get my first shot at trying to throw it out there. And I'm still sitting here I have no idea what I'm going to do for Rock and Rando. And Easton's like, okay.
I have no idea what Rock and Rando is.
Yes, and you'll find that out later in the show. It's the simplest game that you've played many, many times with your friends at some bar, at around like on a bus when you were like a middle schooler. Like you've just played this game in so many different ways and iterations and ages of your life. So let's get it going. Easton, welcome in. Hope you had a good weekend. Let's go.
Yeah, what's up? Good morning to you, Austin. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Got a big show for you today. Help us out before we get into everything Will Levis this morning. And Sean already giving us a hard time. Hey, where's Sam at? Yeah, we're going to get a lot of those starting now. And Sean is he even knows, and you can tell he knows. And
does he know? I mean, because he's also asking, like, is Zach back in Texas? Like, Zach hasn't been in Texas in like 2 years.
I think he's just giving us a hard time, but who knows? Jump in the comments with Sean and Raz and Steven and Jeff and Braden and American Toff and Bork and Kendall and Scott. Good morning to all of you guys. Some familiar faces in there. Jump in the comments with them. Want to hear y'all's thoughts on today's discussion topics, and make sure you've liked the show on Facebook, on YouTube. Hit that like button, that thumbs up for us. It's the easiest way for you to help out the show this morning, every morning. Hit the like button. It helps our algorithms and the reach and all of these things on the internet that don't really make sense to anybody, but they are helpful. We know this. They are good for us, and it's free for you to do. So hit that like button for us. And Austin, we can get it started.
Yep, let's officially welcome the A to Z Sports here live on a Monday. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Easton Freeze, our Titans reporter for A to Z Sports.com. We're Nashville's on-demand sports network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment in our Twitter X timeline. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Also, give us a 5-star Google review. I actually got some emails again last night. Hey, somebody left you a Google review. So do that for us on A to Z Sports. But we have to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you. Wilson County Hyundai. Make the Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. And Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all your insurance needs. They're online at bartondrury.com. So you got to smirk again. What else are you laughing at?
No, it sounded like you almost said Bart Durham and you said Barton Drury, and I have done that myself multiple times already.
Sure.
If you are a Bart company in Nashville, we got you covered. We will deal with you. Yes,
no doubt about that. Bork says, "Did y'all enjoy the live install?" Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
It rocked,
and it will come out from Buck's tweets and Instagrams by the end of this week. So do not ask anybody who works for A to Z Sports, hey, when's it going to be out? Well, because we have no involvement in that whatsoever.
I found that funny.
Yeah.
Are they doing like a Hollywood edit on it? Well, by the end of the week, brother, release the video. Put the podcast out. We have to wait till Friday for that. Let's get that thing out.
I don't know the list of things that Buck has on his to-do list here, but yes.
Let's be real. Buck's not doing it. Whoever's doing it for Buck, put it out.
That's true. Well, I know Lucas was on vacation, so I don't know when Lucas
Oh,
gets
well, then
back.
maybe
So
that's why Buck
that's
has to
usually
do it, and that's why
yes.
it's going to take a week.
But the live install event was great. Brian Callahan made a amazing, hilarious side swipe at Will Levis. I don't know if he meant to do it or if it just something that just going to happen in the moment. But it was fantastic early
I think it was a
in
little
that
Freudian
show.
slip. I don't think it was intentional. I think it's just the way that he feels.
And so it was great. And so when you guys are able to hear that, you'll be like, oh, that's what they're talking about. That's hilarious because that's exactly what it was. But yeah, we had a great time. A to Z Sports Leadership Retreat with Nashville guys included at the live install event. Great time. I was sad that we had to leave that Airbnb because that place was sick. But
It
overall,
was very nice.
overall, great weekend. So let's get going with this topic. So, Easton, a lot of things that we've talked about throughout this draft process, and the fact that I felt so strongly about Will Levis needing to be traded by the end of draft weekend, and it's come and gone, and he has not been traded. So now you're in this random abyss of no man's land of trades in the NFL where there's nothing that can be really done until guys start getting hurt, like training camp opens. Like rarely does a quarterback at least get hurt from now until preseason games start. And then you try to find out who's just maybe not as good as you thought. Who do you need? You need an extra backup that's got a higher ceiling. And we have to wait until, I don't know, August, late August for Will Levis to be moved. So it's an interesting game plan that the Titans have with their whole like, I guess let's go to the audio because the video says it of Will Levis. Did they try to trade him at the draft? Because, this was the opposite of what we expected going into it.
Where does Levis stand in that?
Yeah, Will, or maybe the interest in Will during the draft and just him still being on roster, what does that say about his value with the team?
It's a lot of value. I think, there's going to be competition in every room, and he elevates the competition in that room. That's what we're trying to do here as we get into training camp is have the best 90-man roster, best competition in every room, and Will certainly provides that.
Was there an attempt to move him during the draft?
There was not.
I guess.
So no intent to move him throughout the draft. Let's go ahead and play the awkward video too, because this is just this is not quite as funny as Brian Callahan's side swipe of Levis at the live install, but this is also very good.
Where does Levis stand in that?
Yeah, Will is a quarterback in our room, and he's still developing. He's a young quarterback. He's had some good moments, and like any other young quarterback, they're continuing to develop.
When you don't have anything nice to say, just ramble for 18 seconds until you.
Yeah, in the wake of that first video last week, when they're like, "We didn't try to trade him. We want him on the team for competition." I saw people like talking about like, "See, told you, no reason to get rid of Will. They're not get." I sent them that video. I'm like, I'm old enough to remember when this is what they said about him, and this was they had a chance to say anything nice at all, anything. Could have made stuff up there, but instead that's what they said.
Hey, it's all facts. Okay. He's a young quarterback in the room trying to develop. So Easton, take us through this risk. The Titans are sitting here playing with Will Levis on the roster as they are moving into this offseason program after the draft.
Yeah, I mean, the way that we talked about it pre-draft was that I felt like it was kind of a 50-50 shot. Man, I can't talk this morning. A 50-50 shot that he would be traded over draft weekend ultimately didn't happen. And the way that I felt was that if it didn't happen, it wouldn't be for lack of trying. And obviously we know that the Titans have said that they did not try, which all due respect to those guys up there at the podium, I do not buy. I think that they're full of it on that one. I think that they have to be full of it on that one because what are they supposed to say?
Yeah.
Like if they had tried and failed or had tried and the offers they got were baloney, what do you come to the podium and say, well, guys, we sure did try. And, somebody offered us a 7th round pick swap and we just, that's the best we could get. You tank whatever leverage you might have. You further harm his market. You can't say that you tried and failed. So you have to, whether you actually didn't or you did and you failed, you have to say that you did not try yet. And you have to begin the the offseason hardcore narrative push. I mean, it started in that press conference of beginning to ramp up the hype for this guy. We got to start pushing this guy at the podium big time. Talk about how we're stoked to have him in the room. Great competition, great sounding board for another, from one young quarterback to another. And he's somebody that's, oh man, have you seen the way he looks after he got back from that Jordan Palmer passing camp? Wow, this guy's really. And I'm not saying that he hasn't improved, and all of it'll be bogus. Like, he may actually be improved. Like, I think that he's a talented quarterback. But everything they say is not going to be for any reason other than to pump up his stock and make him more valuable in a potential trade. Because what I did say pre-draft that I continue to stand by is that sooner or later he will be traded. And I know that's how you feel, Austin.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. But the topic this morning is about how the longer you wait, the more risky this becomes. And I think that there is one quarterback on one team that is kind of waiting to do the same thing that the Titans are doing at a larger scale.
Okay.
And it could ruin what the Titans want to do.
So do we ask our first question now with the chat and I in the dark on this one quarterback move? Or do we
What was the first question?
Spill it. The first question is, what landing places are still open?
Yeah, no, let's do that first. We can
Okay.
let's get to that first.
Okay, so Eason has this one other quarterback move that could tank all Will Levis trade options that I have no idea what it is. I'm in the dark just like you guys are.
It's Hendon Hooker. Spoil it. No, it's not.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker, hilarious. So what potential Will Levis trade destination is still open after the draft? So you had your article from a couple weeks before the draft of what, 12 spots, was it?
From April 12th, 12 spots. Yep, and I got it pulled up right here, which
Okay.
I've not even looked at it again until just now. So we're going to go through it in real time.
So great. Do you want to read through those 12 teams now? So 12 teams pre-draft.
Yeah, here's the
How
menu.
many of them could be options post-draft for Will Levis trade spots? What do you got?
Now, here's what I wrote. Again, some of these probably are going to sound dumb now in hindsight based on things that have changed.
Sure.
Here's what's on the list. As strong candidates, I had the Buccaneers, the Eagles, and the Vikings. As possible landing spots, I had the Browns, the Lions, the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Saints, and then as teams to not quite rule out, I had the Falcons, the Jaguars, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Giants, and the Steelers.
Okay.
So hope y'all cut that straight.
Yeah,
there we go.
I think I got it. So, all right. What potential Will Levis trade destination is still open after the draft that you think, that we all think could be a good landing spot? We'll get to those here in a moment. But first, I want to tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. They're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. When injuries happen in life, you got to make sure you know who to trust. You go to check them out, boneandjointtn.org in Franklin, right off of I-65 and Highway 96, next door to Williamson Medical Center. They have all the great doctors, the experts, the resources, the support staff, the physical therapy equipment and team there to help you out all through this different stages of the injury and the recovery process, because they are fantastic at what they do and have all of the resources at their disposal right there in one roof for you to get better. boneandjointtn.org.
There's so much more to say, but first make sure you have liked the show this morning. Hit that thumbs up button on Facebook or on YouTube, and then go on over to Google, search ATOZ Sports, find our little business entity right there, find the stars, hit rating, hit 5 stars, and then leave us a 5-star Google review with whatever feedback you would like to send our way. We will read it. We will treasure it. We will cherish that feedback. Feedback is a gift, as long as it comes in the form of a 5-star review. Thank you very much.
Right. Yeah, if it's not a 5-star review, then we will not cherish whatever the feedback.
It's dead to us. You're dead to us. But if it is 5-star,
okay,
take your words seriously.
So Will Levis has not been traded, obviously. So landing spot that's still open after the draft. Let's start to eliminate some, because I don't think the Browns have any more room. They're out, right?
Don't think so?
That would
no
be
room in the
even
end
funnier.
in Cleveland.
So the Browns are toast. They are no longer looking for a quarterback.
I would take the Eagles out. They drafted a guy.
They drafted a guy late. Will Howard. Now
I'd take the Vikings out. They traded for a guy.
That's right, Sam Howell. for a swap of 30 spots in the 5th round, right?
Yep. So I would leave the Buccaneers in for now. I would
Okay.
leave the Lions in for now.
Okay.
The Dolphins didn't do anything, right?
They
Or-
drafted
no,
Quinn
they
Ewers.
Quinn Ewers. Oh boy, Quinn Ewers is blocking that spot. So take them out. The Raiders did not do anything.
Is that
So I'm
right?
gonna leave them in.
Raiders are in. So we got 3.
They didn't. I
Right?
don't think they had anybody. Yeah, they didn't have anybody. No. So, okay, they drafted those 2 FBS guys at the end of the draft.
Oh, yeah.
One
that's
of
right.
them's not even gonna be.
One
a
of them's a
quarterback.
receiver. So the Raiders.
I'm leaving them in. I'm
Okay,
leaving them
Raiders
in.
count.
Saints obviously got to take them out.
Yep.
Just drafted Tyler Shuck. The Falcons we're going to leave in for now and get back to later. The Jaguars going to leave them in.
Okay.
I mean, did they didn't change anything. We can
That's true.
disagree on the front
Yeah,
end about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yes, but they've not changed anything. The Rams did not add anybody. So we're
No.
going to leave them in.
6.
And the Seahawks, we're going to leave them in because they got rid of a quarterback.
No, they added Jalen Milroe.
Oh, right. Just kidding. So never mind. Take them out. The Giants, take them out.
Yep.
And the Steelers, got to leave them in. TBD. Well, I mean,
TBD.
well, they did draft somebody too. Will Howard is a Steeler. So do we think Will Howard prohibits Will Levis? I kind of think.
Kyle McCord went to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay. I get Kyle McCord and Will Howard mixed up sometimes.
It's Ohio State guys.
Yeah.
General white guys that aren't remarkable. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, those 2 guys are both in the state of Pennsylvania. So I can group them together that way. So, okay. So there's 7 spots.
So who did we? So are we taking the Steelers out or not? I kind of think we have to.
Yes.
Okay, so we're leaving the Giants,
Giants,
the Seahawks,
Seahawks.
the
No,
Rams.
Seahawks are out. What are you talking about?
Okay, so Giants, Rams, Jaguars, Falcons, Raiders, Lions,
Bucks.
Bucks. That's it.
That's
yeah.
it.
So we went from 12 to 7. Ooh,
Okay.
getting thin.
That's actually not that bad though.
I mean, listen, 7 spots is still a lot of spots. Don't get me wrong. And we're also, again, we have entered prime, wait for somebody to get hurt territory. So teams that aren't on this list can suddenly become a part of this list in a hurry. You know what I mean? That's kind of the crux of my argument here in a little bit, but we'll get to that on the second question. Right now, the question is, and we can maybe turn to the chat to see what they had to say. Who are the ideal spots as of this moment?
Yeah, so I'll scroll through the chat here. Let me hop back up here to the top of this. So Rashid says Rams, Jags, Lions. Those are all 3 on the list that we had. Jeff says Steelers and Rams. Those are on our list of 7. Guy says the Rams. There's a lot of Rams. Patrick, Raiders, Jets, Steelers, and Rams. Do we have the Jets on there?
I didn't have the Jets on there.
I don't think the Jets. I mean, they've got Justin
Who else
Fields
is in that room? Is it Tyrod? I'll pull it up. Keep going.
Rams and Lions. Dallas.
They just did the Joe Milton thing, guys.
Yeah. They've already got.
They've got
Will
2
Levis.
starters in Dallas. They don't need another quarterback.
Yeah, God, jeez. Rams, Pittsburgh, and the Vikings. Well, Johnny, we went through 2 of those. Already have some moves. Yuri brings up the Cardinals, which is somebody we have not talked about. The Cardinals were not on your list of 12. Why were the Cardinals one of the other 20 teams that was not on the list originally?
Okay, so hang on. The Jets. I don't know if it was because I did this list right around when they signed Fields, and that just kind of like turned me off to them. But at the moment, Jets make a lot of sense. Like,
Okay.
Well, not a lot of sense, but some sense. Like, obviously, they just paid Justin Fields a bunch. They are paying Tyrod Taylor a not minimal contract. It's real money. But then it's Adrian Martinez, whoever he is, and then Brady Cook, everybody's favorite.
Adrian Martinez. You don't know who Adrian Martinez is? A Butch Jones recruit who went to Nebraska.
Sure. Sounds right.
All right. So what is this other NFL quarterback who could flat out ruin this Will Levis landing spot for the Titans? Because
do we want to go ahead and get to that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that.
Well, hang on. Are we moving past the best landing spot, or are we going to come back to that?
No, I want to know what this is, and then try to figure out what the best landing spot is after I know what the mystery is.
I'm surprised nobody. Maybe I'm not paying close enough attention to the chat. I'm surprised nobody has like caught on to. This is not like 3D chess that
I think some people have caught on. I think I know.
Okay, okay. So who do you think I'm thinking about?
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. This is where the Falcons are right now too, and Kirk Cousins is a much better option for the kinds of teams, for the teams that are for certain situations teams may find themselves in that you would think, oh, Levis is the spot for them. Kirk Cousins could make a lot more sense for some of those teams. And so that's what I wrote about yesterday in an article that's up at A2Zsports.com, which I'll tweet about after the show. The Falcons, off the top, I think they're insane. I think they're the draft weekend, if that's any indication. I think they're a very kooky, weirdly run franchise who foolishly decided, let's bring in Terry Fontenot from the Saints, a guy nobody was bidding for, coming from an organization that is the king of doing weird front office things that get you screwed over long term. Let's have him make decisions. And it's gone the way that it's gone. They keep doing these things in the first round that like make everybody roll their eyes or scratch their head. And I think that the way that they've handled the Kirk Cousins thing falls squarely into that category too. The way that they waited to let his, I think, $10 million roster guarantee tender in March. They did not try to move him before that deadline. They're honestly like 10 toes down on this idea that it seems that they think that they can get somebody to trade for Kirk and take on some of his salary because they're still paying him on the 4-year, $180 million contract. I think they're paying him.
Yeah.
So a lot of money going to Kirk. It's kind of the Russell Wilson situation with the Broncos, but unlike the Broncos who ended up just cutting Russell, the Falcons seem to think that they can get some. I mean, right now he's the most highly compensated, actually working backup in the NFL. And because we can't forget everybody's favorite Cleveland Brown. And I don't know. Like they continue to say like he's our guy. We're going to keep him as a backup. We have no intention of moving him. No, you don't. Yes, you do. I guess like you have to move him. What are we talking about? You can't keep paying this guy $50 million to be your backup. You have to move him. And so I think that they're just playing chicken with the league and waiting. And he's the perfect guy for somebody who, God forbid, I almost said Dak Prescott, but he gets hurt too much. I don't want to get him hypothetically hurt again.
Don't poke his voodoo doll again, Mike.
Yeah, no, I won't. If, Brock Purdy goes down or something, like somebody needs a viable starting quarterback and not even for the full season, right? Like somebody goes down and it's like Jordan Love week 1 last year where it's like might miss the first month of the season. And this is a team that has contention written all over them. They just need to stay afloat. Kirk Cousins is a stay afloat guy. And I think Titans fans, when that happens, if that happens, they'll say, Will Levis, he can be your guy. And he could be their guy. But over Kirk Cousins, depends on the situation. I'm not sure he'd win that battle. I'm not.
Okay. I think Kirk Cousins is interesting here, but like I don't think a team that's trading for Will Levis is the same, or I mean it could be, but I don't think there's a ton
It's
of
not
overlap.
exactly the same.
I think they're different. You're trading for Kirk Cousins and Will Levis for completely different reasons.
Maybe. Listen, I think the Titans' stated goal is we're going to wait with Levis to bump up his stock in August and see if somebody has an injury where they need a guy. And that's the same stated goal for the Kirk Cousins Falcons right now.
Yeah, but
wait for somebody to need a guy.
Like a team could have their backup get hurt and Will Levis be an option.
Yes.
Like if
it's not a perfect overlap here. It's a Venn diagram. It's a Venn diagram. Yeah. It's not a circle.
So I don't necessarily think the Kirk Cousins situation completely could blow up Will Levis' situation.
I don't think it definitely will. I just think it could.
It could, yes. I mean, I don't even know about that.
Okay.
We just went through. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of lists. All right. So your article that you wrote pre-draft, you had them in like a different tier buckets. So the top bucket, which was like the strongest candidates, were who again?
Well, the only one that we have left in that category is the Buccaneers, and I still believe. I mean, I had them as my number one option then, and they remain my number one option now. I think it makes a ton of sense. Their quarterback room, the next bucket that we still have.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna like briefly explain with the Buccaneers. Like, obviously, we know Baker's under contract, but I don't know. Maybe I'm underrating Baker. At what point is Baker like the guy that the Buccaneers know that he's our guy for the next 5 years? Is he there yet? I don't. Like, is Baker still proving something on that roster? Kind of, a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Baker's still Baker's a starter that you can feel confident in and continue to pay, but you need to
Right
start
now,
churning somebody behind. You need to start like
that's
Gruden.
a good way of putting it. And,
Yeah.
and then behind him, you have
Kyle
they have
Trask.
nobody of note, and they're paying them nothing. Yet Kyle Trask and somebody else who I've already forgotten. So I think he makes a ton of sense. Oh, and by the way, on Baker's contract, he has 2 years left, and he's going to cost them almost $50 million against the cap after this season. So they're going to need to love him or extend him if they're going to keep him around after this year.
Yeah.
So,
so
I think
Bucks
that
are
he's
strong candidate.
perfect. Yeah, I think he's a perfect developmental upgrade at the backup position with potential starter upside in the future. And also, Baker's like the mold of guy you're wanting Will to become, right? Like the guy that, and Baker wasn't bad at the beginning. We've covered this, but like Baker's strongest football is multiple years into his career. Levis is trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, and the Bucks are also not a Kirk Cousins spot unless Baker gets hurt, which you can say that about anybody. Right. Yeah. Okay. So
pretty much
next.
Well, not anybody actually, because I think you need to be a team that thinks you're a contender for Kirk to make sense.
Okay. Yeah, there are
like if Cam Ward gets hurt, God forbid, the Titans aren't going to get Kirk Cousins. You know, it's like okay, pack it in.
True. But so there's half the league could be if the quarterback gets hurt, Kirk Cousins could be better, could be an option. So like, and that's not the exercise here, right? So the Bucks do not cross over with the Kirk Cousins Venn diagram of Will Levis. So
so the next tier of guys, the Lions, kind of a sim. I mean, so Goff is a more established guy than Baker is to me. But he is still somebody that. Are Lions fans certain that Jared Goff, like he's currently 30, Jared Goff is, which is younger than I think people think he is because he plays maybe older than that, but he's 30 years old. You know, when we look at like the way that quarterbacks work, he should have another 5, 6, 7 years of his prime, right? Because these guys in their early to mid 30s, that's when quarterbacks do their, best work if they stay healthy.
Right.
But are Lions fans sure that he's their guy for the next 5, 6, 7 years? If they keep slamming their head up against this wall in the playoffs and Goff continues to be a guy that's like very, very good, but not, again, like the best trailer quarterback in the league, not a tractor kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, is Goff really a tractor? Some games, but not consistently. I don't think anybody really regards him as clearly in that tractor category.
So I think,
which makes him vulnerable to me.
I think the Lions are on the list. I just don't think they're very high on the list.
For which player?
For Levis.
Okay. Well, I mean, the thing about them is, again, they could really use a backup upgrade. And if that's how teams see Levis, because like they openly dislike Hendon Hooker. We've seen them do this for a couple of years now. And they have Jake Allen Jake Fromm and Allen. Who's the Allen they have in there? Some Allen. Austin Allen?
Yeah, that's Brandon Allen's brother.
Is that right?
That's the only other Allen I know besides Josh, who's unrelated. Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up, but it's Jake Fromm and some other guy named Allen who are on bargain basement contracts on that team. So, I could see them, going to get a guy.
I think they are
Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen.
Oh.
Everybody's
so there's like 3 Allens that are like 3 Allen families who have quarterbacks in the league right now.
They are.
So I think the Lions are on the list for Levis trade options. Keep on going.
Dolphins, we took off.
Yep.
Raiders, we know the Geno Smith situation. They just paid him. They're not high on the list to me because of Aiden O'Connell, but the way that this organization has the new brass in this organization has kind of talked about and operated with Aiden O'Connell. I'm not sure they love Aiden O'Connell. They may kind of be on the outs with Aiden O'Connell. And so if that's the case, that behind them, they have everybody's favorite Nepo baby, Carter Bradley. So, maybe they're a team that could use a backup swing if they are out on their guys, but I don't know if they're out or in on their guys.
If the new staff is out on O'Connell, then Levis can make sense. But Aiden O'Connell is cheaper than the cheap Will Levis.
Correct. I mean, part of the indication here is that the Raiders were one of the teams very publicly reported to have been in on the Joe Milton trade.
Okay.
Back when they still had Aiden O'Connell. So, like, I think that they have been sniffing around alternatives to Aiden O'Connell already, which makes me wonder if they'd be curious. Maybe this regime has a soft spot for Will Levis. Who knows?
God, people being interested in Joe Milton blows my mind still. Okay,
A lot of teams. You'd be shocked. A lot of teams.
God, it's just crazy. Unless you've lived the Joe Milton experience as a fan of a team he's actually played for, you don't get it. Like, you're like, shiny, 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 shiny. But it's just not, it's not shiny. It's not very
Traits.
good. So, all right.
Who else? The Falcons are on this list.
No.
And if they move on Kirk,
it would take
suddenly
it would take one for the other.
Correct.
Yeah. So
I'm just saying, if Kirk is already he's already walking
I'm
out the
making
door.
I'm making a
That
little down
right now is Kirk, Michael Penix, and Emory Jones. So if Kirk is gone, it's Penix and Emory Jones. End of list. Need somebody.
I'm going to take the Falcons off the list because I want something that could happen today. It does not require an extra domino to fall. So the Falcons are not on the list. Right now we've got the Bucks, the Lions, and the Raiders.
Can I interest you in the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I mean, yeah, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Liam Cohen, it's purely a Liam Cohen thing. Does Cohen just love his boy that much? I don't know.
It's not going to happen. They would have to overpay much, and the Jags have no reason to do that.
I had them at the bottom of the list for a reason, but
so,
I mean, behind the boards, they have Nick Mullins who blows and John Wolford who double blows. So, just saying. Okay, let's see. The Rams, who I personally don't. So, like, this was when I talked about this with Sam on a show weeks ago. He loved the Rams as one of his favorite fits. I get it on paper because you have Matthew Stafford aging. Jimmy Garoppolo is like the thing is Jimmy Garoppolo is being paid serious money as the backup. He's not being unseated by Levis. So it would be like as a third quarterback guy, a developmental guy. They have Stetson Bennett on their roster. They just fleeced the Falcons in the draft, and they're clearly setting themselves up to draft a quarterback next year if and when the Stafford experiment comes to a close. I don't think it makes sense personally, but
I think here's what I think. I think Sean McVay doesn't want anything to do with Will Levis.
That was my primary point a couple weeks ago. Yes.
If Sean McVay didn't want to deal with Jared Goff, then why in the hell would Sean McVay want to deal with Will Levis?
Exactly how I feel. So, yeah.
Like that's just going to make Sean McVay, who's a very attractive, good-looking guy, uglier with age and stress. That's how I view that. Sean McVay doesn't want any part of that. No.
I agree.
Like there's so many correlations off the field with Goff and Levis. It's like, you remember the whole Hard Knocks thing where Jared Goff was like, oh, I don't remember what direction the sun rises. Like there's so many things like that with Levis, right?
Yeah.
And McVay's like, no, pulling his hair out. So not gonna happen. Not on my list. Keep going.
Nick Ewing asks, where are the people who claimed that Stetson Bennett was going to be great? They work for the Tennessee and their name is Nick Suss.
Crazy.
He still thinks that he's going to be great and just to trust him.
He can't stay at practice consistently.
Yeah, he can't stay on the team at the moment. So let's start there. Next on the list, the Seahawks. Oh, just kidding. Adam Milroe. Never mind. The Giants are off the list. Oh, the Steelers. Until
I'm going to put the
Aaron
Steelers,
Rodgers is a Steeler.
So I'm going to put the Steelers in the same bucket as the Falcons. One domino has to drop for that to be an option. And
does it?
I'm not counting it. Yeah. Yes.
But what if it's because people have theorized it's already dropped, that they have an agreement that Aaron Rodgers is like, listen, I just don't want to come to stuff in the spring. We'll announce it over 4th of July weekend and I'll be there in August.
Yeah, that could totally happen.
So if that's the case, the domino's kind of already dropped. And right now their quarterback room is Mason Rudolph, Will Howard.
Look, there's still time for that to blow up. You're going to bring back Levis with Rudolph again and just run that train.
Yeah,
hilarious.
They're buddies. They get along well.
So I'm going to
They saw
say
what the Titans had last year, and they said, "Lord, I want that in my life."
Mike Tomlin's like, God, this is the way I can get a quarterback finally. Then I got to do that. So no, they're still in that one domino has to drop. So not an option for me.
Drew gets it, by the way. How much of this all changes after Levis reportedly has the greatest training camp in NFL history? It's coming. Trust me, it's coming.
There's no way. This is dumb. All of this is dumb. Keep going. Are we out
What do
of
you mean
teams?
there's no way. You know it's happening.
It's not.
That's gonna be. It's gonna be this. We did it with Malik Willis after Malik Willis was clearly Malik Willis.
Yeah, but Malik Willis was the third quarterback on the roster and had no chance to. He wasn't going to make the team because he wasn't good enough to make the team.
No, but we were talking about how maybe he does make the team because he had a really good training camp. This was a thing that was being talked about, Austin.
But the starting spot for Willis was so much different than Levis.
Yes, you're right. Levis is going to get more opportunity to show off than Willis ever did.
All right. Do we have any other teams? Or are we down?
No, we're out. We're out of.
So
teams.
there are 3 teams that could trade for Will Levis right now, or with the least amount of effort. It's the Buccaneers, the Lions, and the Raiders.
Can we? I want to add the Jets to this.
Okay.
I think that I made a mistake when I wrote this with leaving the Jets off because again, yes, you have 2 guys you're paying. Let me remind myself what Tyrod Taylor's contract is, but like we know Justin Fields' contract. Tyrod is what he is, but beyond that, they've got nobody. And this is a franchise that has already kind of made it clear that their new brass is interested in shaking some things up. So maybe they want to get some. I mean, they like to compete. They like to compete up there in New York now. That's the way that they operate. So let's get some competition in there. How much money is Tyrod making? Is this an impenetrable contract? He is making. Yeah, okay. So this is kind of why I left him off the list, I guess. He's making 6.8 against the cap.
Yeah, so it's 3 in my opinion.
But it's the final year of the contract. So I don't know. Final year of the contract, and your other guy is Justin Fields. I don't think it's crazy.
I still think you're right with the Buccaneers, the best option. The Buccaneers
are the only team that you don't have to convince yourself on something. Like it just makes sense already.
It does because they've got 1 year with Baker, this year with Baker, and next year they're going to have to commit to like $50 million.
You have to do something after this year with Baker. Yep.
And they have nobody on the roster who's been able to like play any type of meaningful snap. So I think the Bucs make the most sense. So if you can't convince the Bucs to do it, if you can't trade away Will Levis, do you cut him or do you keep him for the season?
So we're talking we're September 3rd right now.
Yeah.
And it's time to put up or shut up on Will Levis.
Yep. Do you cut him or do you keep him? This is my YouTube poll for the day. So I want to know where you guys are at on this. Do you cut him?
I don't even know where I'm at on this, Austin.
I know exactly where I sit on this. But first, let me tell you guys about the Barton Drury Insurance Group. When Zach and I were looking for the best health coverage we could possibly provide to our employees last year, we were shopping around the market and we thought, well, there's these guys that are right here local in the Nashville area that just merged their 2 companies, and it would be a great fit for us. And the Barton Drury Insurance Group has customized solutions for all of your insurance needs and are a one-stop shop for both business and personal insurance. They sell all types of different products like employee benefits, 401k planning, life insurance, workers' comp, liability, auto, property, and umbrella. So they're local and strive to help you out because insurance can be very overwhelming and very complicated to understand. And they can make sure to jump on a phone call, a Zoom, trade back and forth as many emails as it takes to make you feel comfortable with what you are needing for your insurance situation or what you have already and how to maximize that as well. So check them out online when you need insurance, anything, bartondrury.com.
There's so much more to say, but first, make sure you have left a 5-star Google review for us. Search A to Z Sports on Google, find our business entity, hit that 5th star on the right, and say whatever you want. We'll read it. We will cherish it. We will appreciate your feedback. It's very easy. It's very free for you to go and do right now as you're watching the show, and it's extremely helpful for us. We appreciate that. All right, I thought about it for about 5 seconds during your ad read, and I've decided that there's an easy answer.
What
So
if the
I'm back.
Titans? What if the Titans cannot trade Will Levis? Do you cut him or keep him? What's the chat saying?
Well, the chat is all over the place. Let me scroll back up to the top.
Well, there's
here.
only 2 options, so you can be.
Well, they are as split as you could possibly be.
Okay.
I guess it's just some very strong opinions on both sides here. Daniel in all caps, you keep him. Top tier says you cut. Raz says I think cut. Donald says keep. Eric says keep. Jason says keep. Okay. Justin says keep him. He's cheap. King VC says cut him. Next question. Kendall says cut him. Sean just points out that he's easily the second best quarterback on the roster. Nobody disagrees with this. I think yes. Yeah. We don't need to debate that, straw man. Everyone agrees. Let's see. You keep him, says Chris. You cut him, says Derek. You cut him, says Raz. You keep him easy. You cut him easy. You keep him to back up for 1 season. You keep. So it appears, as I'm kind of tallying these, that keep is the winner in the chat. Although there are some very strong cut opinions. Cut so dang fast. Cut, don't want that personality in the locker room. Okay.
Does the
YouTube
in the locker
have...
room, like don't want that personality in the locker room. That sounds negative. It sounds like Will Levis is a bad person in that comment. He's not a bad person.
Not the case.
He's not toxic. He's not going to blow things up or divide the locker room. So I just want to say, that's not what that comment means or should mean. We have a super chat here from Kick It to the King. Easton is correct. Hyped up Will Levis for QB2 competition with what is that? Emoji?
Rudolph.
Oh, okay.
It's a reindeer.
We know the script. It's just with Levis for QB1 battle. If we keep Levis, no different than the Panthers keeping Clausen when they drafted Cam Newton. That's actually not a bad example.
I'd have to refresh my memory on that.
I don't remember the years that Jimmy Clausen was. What year was Jimmy Clausen in when they drafted Cam Newton number 1? Because Jimmy Clausen was a higher 2nd-round pick quarterback out of Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember the leash or the starting opportunity that Jimmy Clausen had because Will Levis was given the keys to everything. And he wrecked it really fast. Are you looking up Jimmy Clausen? And Daniel says the example is Davis Mills. No, it's not.
Jimmy Clausen played 1 year for the Panthers in 2010 and then was out of the league until 2014.
So Jimmy Clausen does not fit. He was not there. So they got rid of him. So Jimmy Clausen.
What year was Cam, though?
2011, right?
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so the year heading into Clausen's 2nd year.
Yeah.
What happened for him to... Did he get in legal trouble?
No. It just wasn't good. It was bad.
It was that bad after 1 year?
Yeah.
I mean, was this a Josh Rosen situation?
It was kind of like a Will Levis situation, to be honest. Except his bad year.
But Levis was not, first of all, was not a high 1st-round pick, and second of all, was not immediately bad after his first couple of starts. It seems like this guy was immediately cheeks.
I'm getting really.
Wait, okay, no, his stats were, that's wrong. Pro Football Reference is wrong. He was with the Panthers from 2010 to 2013. Okay. So just kidding.
So you just didn't play.
I guess. I'll keep investigating. You keep going.
So he played 13 games in 2010. He was the 48th pick in that draft. That was his rookie year. He threw for 1,500 yards, 3 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and was sacked 33 times. He was awful. Great. He was really, really bad. Then he did not play another game for another 4 seasons after that. So Jimmy Clausen sat behind Cam Newton after he sucked so bad. The Panthers got the number 1 overall pick and they drafted Cam Newton, which is the similar situation as Will Levis.
10 games and 3 touchdowns is impressive.
Brutal.
He won one of those games somehow. So I guess most of those touchdowns came in that game.
So Ryan Roberts in the chat. Notre Dame great, Jimmy Clausen. That's right. He was supposed to be the best of the Clausen brothers. That's a different debate. And so Daniel comes back with Davis Mills. Was a second-round starter who became Stroud's backup. Davis Mills was a third-round pick, wasn't he?
Think so.
I think he was a third-round pick, and Davis Mills was never given the franchise. He was never supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, Davis Mills was a nice story for
He was
like
a stopgap. Everybody understood that he was a piece of duct tape. And that duct tape held up okay. The duct tape did the job.
Duct tape with a fantastic neck, for what it's worth.
And he remained on the team. But, Easton, my answer,
Third-round pick.
if the Titans cannot trade Will Levis, they have to cut Will Levis. There is no point.
Lay out the case.
No point of keeping him on the roster throughout the season. There's no point of trying to, oh, no, you're not going to get any value back for that. Who cares? You've moved on. You drafted Cam Ward, number 1 overall. Everything needs to be about Cam Ward. Nothing needs to be about Will Levis. If you can't move off of him for whatever draft pick, it could be a 2027 7th-round pick. I don't care. He cannot be on the roster after the preseason. He's not a bad teammate, as this guy is saying. He's not a bad teammate. It's just about other stuff. You don't need any other stuff. You have committed to Cam Ward. He is your franchise. Don't try to. Who cares what you salvage from Will Levis and his trade situation or whatever? Just move on. Be done with it. Clean cut over. It's done. So if you can't trade him, you have to cut him. There's no keeping him around. And Katie asked, who are you going to have for the backup? Brandon Allen, because that was the plan the whole time. Because if Cam Ward, something happens to him and you have to play your backup for a chunk of games, then the whole point is to lose 2.
You're right about that. I wrote about that. We agree.
Right.
You are dead wrong about what they have to do with Will Levis, though.
No,
couldn't be more wrong.
Why?
You have to keep Levis in this situation.
For what purpose?
No. Okay, I'll give you the reasons, but before I do, I just listened to your reasons for why they have to cut him. You didn't actually give one real reason. So like I'm waiting for the reason why you have to cut him because I didn't hear one. You just said cuz stuff, which is not exactly compelling.
Because it's weird. Because there's no point. Why?
Because it's weird is also not compelling, Austin. That's not how business works.
It's because you're letting it linger. Because I don't give a damn.
If you and Zach pull me into a chat and you're like, we have to let you go, Easton. And I'm like, why? And you go, because it's just weird. And that'd be a bad reason. Yeah,
but you would get it. Like,
no, I wouldn't.
No,
I would
because
not.
Because it's not weird. Because that's why it.
No. If I was Levis and I was called into Chad Brinker's office and they said we got to let you go because it's just weird.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, it makes sense.
No. In college maybe, but not in the NFL.
No, you get
not in the NFL. On. No, and here's the reason why you're wrong, even about the weird thing, right?
Okay.
Because in this situation, we're talking like September 1st. We're talking about this.
Yeah.
That means that you have gotten all the way through May camps, July camps, August camps, preseason games, preseason joint practice travel, of which they're going to do twice.
Yeah.
And it's been fine. It hasn't ruined your team so far. And so that's the harder part. No. In terms of the weirdness of it, honestly, the harder part is getting through the camps. Because once you get to the season, you're no longer talking about splitting reps. You're like, the backup is the backup. They're on the back burner. They're just in the room to give you advice and help you be the ball boy when you're practicing after practice. And like, they're standing on the sideline with a clipboard. There's no drama once you get to the season, there's way less drama than in August.
Okay.
There's way less.
Who's active on game day?
Will, what do you mean? Of course. Will is infinitely better than Brandon Allen at quarterback.
Yeah, but that's not the point. You don't want to have a good backup, right?
Yes, fair. And well, okay. In a spot, you might. Long term. So hang on. You don't want a good backup if your starter is done. Now, if Cam Ward, if it's week 8, the Titans are 4-4, or it's week 9 and Titans are 4-4, and Cam gets banged up and might miss the rest of that game, might even miss next week. But it's not like it's an ankle turn or something. Well, now you do want a good backup. Like the theory that you're talking about, the hypothesis of mine that we talked about weeks ago, is if your guy's done for the year. And if he's done for the year, okay, Levis comes in that game in which he was active for. He plays, he probably loses anyways. And then after that week, you no longer have to make him the active guy because now you're like, okay, well, Cam's done. Dadgummit. We have to lose now. Fine. Brandon Allen's the guy. And everybody you do the weird thing. And everybody's like, why Brandon Allen? But people who are paying attention really get it. Like, of course it's Brandon Allen. So I don't think that's prohibitive at all. And Austin, you can't throw away value. He is still valuable. He is to you as a team and to a team that could potentially have him. And the trade deadline is something that you could then look forward to. Again, I think all of this is hypothetical because I think he's for sure getting moved before this point.
He should have already got moved. You already know how
I agree. You and I agree.
He should not be in the building once Cam Ward's drafted. That is how I feel about it.
Well, it's too late. He is, and they are. So, and they have it. So I think that you have to keep him. And I think that you look to move him at the earliest opportunity. Again, when somebody needs a backup because somebody gets hurt, and in the first, because the trade deadline, whatever it is, like that first month or two, something will happen. Somebody will need him. And if you get to September 1st and he hasn't blown up and ruined things with his weirdness, as you are so concerned about, then he won't do it in the season.
So it's not that like you mentioned, like if you're gonna like move on from somebody because it's weird. Like if it did not work, again, this is so unique, Easton, because they gave him the keys to the franchise. Mm-hmm. And he drove into so many mailboxes on your own street before he even got to the neighborhood exit that it's not even funny. Like, so what, you don't just let him keep riding around the car. Like he's just there. There's just this thing that's just sitting there that you have to remember is there. And you're like, why can't we just move on from this and be done with it? They need to move off. They need to no longer have him. They need to get rid of him. I don't care what the value is that they get back. It's all about Cam Ward. And I don't think that Cam can't
Sean's all over
handle it.
Sean's all over it. Your response is the emotional one. Mine's the reality.
My response is what everybody else does.
Everyone's listening to you talk right now, Austin.
Panthers.
And what they're hearing you say is me, Austin Stanley, is so done talking and thinking about Will Levis. I just need him off this team so I can quit thinking about it. I get it. I do. But I think that's really in your heart. I think that's your real reason. I think it is.
I think if you had the most honest moment you could possibly have with the entire offensive coaching staff from last season, they would tell you they agree with me.
No, of course they would. Of course they want him gone. I'm sure they do.
Because why? Because it's weird. They're tired of it. It's exhausted.
Yes, but they also all make so much and 7 figures.
Yeah, and they would just rather him be over so they can just pour everything they can into Cam Ward. And I just want to clear this up. The people in the chat think I'm thinking this. This has nothing to do with Cam Ward. I don't think Cam Ward gives a damn who his backup is. I don't think you could bring in Tom Brady and Cam Ward wouldn't give a crap.
I agree.
But this is about everybody else. Like, don't waste the management's time on Will Levis when you have Cam Ward.
Okay, so don't waste
exhaust any other resource.
He doesn't have to be gone for you to not waste it.
Yeah, he's there.
No, he doesn't.
Somebody has to. Yes, they got.
He will waste our time. The media will talk to him coming off the field, and we'll waste our time. But the team's not going to waste their time.
The Titans have already shown us that they have to keep up appearances, and they're not above doing that. Right? They changed plans. We know this. They changed plans. Less people are going to go to Shedeur Sanders Pro Day that went. Why? Because media started talking about it. And what they do, they change plans. So they're trying to keep up appearances. They know they can't just leave Will Levis outside. Like, they're not going to do that. Like, if he's on the team, then he does require energy from the coaching staff. And none of that energy should be going towards Will Levis. It should all go towards Cam Ward.
I obviously agree with you.
That's my actual reason.
All of the
not
energy
because it's
from the
weird.
coaching staff.
Not because it's weird. My real reason.
I'm glad you got to
the energy spent on Will Levis is all wasted energy.
I can appreciate that you eventually got to a good reason. That you got to a decent reason eventually, and that's fair. I just don't think that reason, which is a decent one, outweighs the value lost. You can't throw away value. You can't throw away the second
What
best quarterback in your
value,
team.
dude? Like a 5th round pick 2 drafts from now?
Yeah.
Like I would rather just be done. Sometimes it's cut your losses and be out. Sometimes that's the right decision. Cut your losses, get done with it, and then move on.
Sometimes in the NFL, that's the way it is. But with the quarterback position in the NFL, with high level traits at the quarterback position in the NFL, it's not the way that it works. It's never
Okay.
been the way that it works.
Okay.
All of this is going to be moot because they're going to trade him on August 2nd. We're not going to have to worry about it.
That would be great because this is the answer. If they can't trade him, what do you do? I think you have to cut him.
I think you have to keep him.
57% of YouTube says keep him. God, it's crazy.
Logic and reason wins again.
No. No. Move on. It's over. Get rid of it.
I love the central nervous system response that it evokes in you. The idea, like it's like
it drives me
vomitus
insane
for you.
Get it the hell out of my life.
It's crazy. Get it the hell out of my life. Is
this situation. Yes.
Yeah. No. Okay.
That's
we'll
the
see.
it that I got to get rid of.
Hopefully, for everyone's sake, Will Levis' sake, the Titans' sake, your sake, my sake, the chat's sake, they just trade him to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on August 4th, and we can be done.
Okay.
Hope so.
It is now time for Rock and Rando. Easton has no idea what Rock and Rando is.
Not even a little bit.
I'm going to tell him here in a second. First, shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. That is where to turn. So Rock and Rando is the game that you've played so many times where you just, name this random guy. Name this random guy.
I'm scared.
Do you have any memories playing that game?
Yeah, I've done a name dudes session with my friends many a time. It's just that I'm bad. I'm historically bad with names. So I'm afraid you're going to put me on the spot, and I'm not going to be able to name somebody.
You're bad with names. You're bad with numbers, which makes me excited that I can actually do something here and win.
Oh no! This is a win. There's a winning to this. Okay.
Yeah, it's do you get it right or not? And
so you're gonna describe a guy, and I have to tell you.
No,
who
I'm gonna
is?
show a picture.
Oh, and I just have to tell you who this person is?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so cooked.
You're also young, so I have that at my disposal as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can beat me pretty easily here.
I know, but I've also not done a great job preparing for this.
Okay, I like the honesty.
So hide the chat and do not click on the go to a different not the media assets.
I'm on the banners folder.
Perfect, because now you can't see the picture that I'm going to upload. So I'm about to put this player up here, and you're going to have to name this person.
Okay, it needs to be somebody that I think the rules of this game should be that the person who's guessing needs to have a reasonable reason to have known this person at some point in their life.
It's a football player.
Okay, all right.
It's a football player.
Well, here goes nothing. Dude, I don't know. Who
you have no idea?
He clearly plays quarterback.
You have no idea who this is?
For the Carolina Panthers. There's no way he's Jimmy Clausen because we were just talking about Jimmy Clausen, and that would be way too on the nose. Jake Delhomme.
Hey, you got it! Did you?
Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah, of course it's Jake Delhomme. Of course.
I just wanted to see. This was an age test for me.
Okay.
Because you probably did not watch a single game that Jake Delhomme played.
I cannot recall a single Jake Delhomme play in my
because
brain.
This was the easiest thing for the chat.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat now. They're all over it.
Yes.
Hey, chat, I knew too. It was a guess, but I knew.
I know. I knew that was gonna be easy for the chat, but my whole goal whenever I'm doing this, I want to see the easiest person I can get for the chat that's hard for Easton.
That's an interesting game. We could be here for a while playing that. It helped that you picked a Panthers franchise quarterback because in the last 25 years, the Panthers quarterbacks that people like that could be reasonably named, there's not many of them.
No.
So I just kind of pulled I went Jimmy Clausen. Okay, not him. Let's keep going. Who's the next general Panthers guy in my brain? Jake Delhomme.
Yes. Yeah. So that is my goal, is how could I make the easiest option for the chat, but so tough for Easton?
No, that was a very good choice too, because it was clearly a guess on my part. So that was a good one.
All right, there you go.
Was Jake Delhomme good? Like
first stretch?
For a minute he was fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's pull up some Jake Delhomme stats. You want to do that?
Sure.
All right. Jake Delhomme stats. Let's see. Career stats. Oh, wow. I mean, he threw for almost 21,000 yards in his career, 126 touchdowns, 101 interceptions.
How many years?
He had a lot.
Okay. All with
he probably
Panthers?
had, no, Saints, Panthers mostly, then the Browns and Texans each for a year. He had 6 seasons where he was the starter the majority of the games without injury. He had got hurt one year, but he had 3 years in a row: 3,200 yards, 3,800 yards, 3,400 yards, 19 touchdowns, 29 touchdowns, 24 touchdowns with the Panthers. So that was 03 to 05. Was a pretty solid player.
What was the best team he was on? Like, were any of those winning playoff teams?
Oh yeah, he was in the Super Bowl.
Oh wait, duh. Yeah. Okay, so he lost the Super Bowl. Fair enough.
Yeah, lost the Super Bowl to the Tom Brady led Patriots.
Yeah, the Patriots.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, that's it for this Monday.
Who was like the best player on that Super Bowl team?
On that team for the
Panthers.
I mean, Hussein Muhammad, Steve Smith.
Okay. Yeah, Steve Smith is who I was going to guess.
They had Julius Peppers was on the defense.
People give me a hard time. I was 3 years old, guys. Give it a rest.
That's why I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it's good.
Because everyone's like, "Oh, that's Jake Delhomme," and the Easton's like, "Oh God, let me go in my roll. What Panthers quarterbacks have I heard?"
That's the thing. My Panthers Rolodex in my head is like 4 guys deep. So I'm limited to choose from.
Orlando's like, if only Ray Caruth didn't crash out. Yeah, no kidding.
Who?
Exactly.
Never heard of that guy in my life.
Google him. Google Ray Caruth.
Ray Caruth. You made that up. That's not a real person.
Nope. Google him. There is a story there that you're going to go, what? This happened in what year? And how? Right. That's insane.
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah. And Patrick asked, so what fan got it first? All of them. All of you guys got Jake Delhomme first. So there was no way.
Found it.
Did you find Ray Caruth?
Sure did. Describing that as a crash out seems to be selling it a tad short.
Yeah. There was like a 7
good God, that's outrageous.
Series. Yeah, Ray. I listened to that pod. Do you remember years ago when Steve McNair podcast came out with like from SI or something like that?
Uh-huh.
There was a Ray Caruth one. That was really good.
First round pick in 97. Oh, so this was multiple years into his NFL career that happened. Okay.
Yes,
wow.
He was like an NFL first round pick that committed murder.
Not just any murder.
Oh.
Murder of his pregnant girlfriend.
Wild.
Double homicide.
Wild, man. Wild. Like,
good God. Jeez Louise. All right, well, Ray Caruth, yeah. What could have been, I suppose.
And then like the details of it. Crazy.
Where is Ray Caruth now?
And they found him. There's a Nashville tie with this because they found him in the state of Tennessee hiding. So,
yeah, December 15th in West Tennessee, found hiding in the trunk of a car outside a motel in Parker's Crossroads.
Yeah.
What? The trunk also contained $3,900 cash, bottles of his urine, extra clothes, candy bars, and a cell phone. The Panthers waived him the next day, citing moral clauses.
Isn't that crazy? They waited
indefinitely the next day.
Oh, you know what? Like that was basically Aaron Hernandez, like except the first round pick.
Yeah. He was sentenced to a minimum of 40 years. So we all know where Ray Caruth currently is. Getting close to being free, I suppose.
Parole, maybe.
Well, not close, actually. He's just over halfway. Never mind.
Crazy, man. That
Oh
was
no,
it.
he's out. He's out. He got out in 2018 after serving 18 years. He moved to Pennsylvania. He's now married and resides in the Southwest.
Hmm.
All right. So man, minimum of 40 years, and he got out after 18. Must have been a great prisoner. Anyways, great show.
If Aaron Hernandez was a first round pick, Ray Carew.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Man, how in love do you have to be to marry that guy, huh? I mean, you gotta really have some love and trust.
What
Death do us part.
date? What number date do you bring that up?
Yo, date number 1, brother. I'm not showing up to date number 1 before I ask that.
By
question.
the way, something about my past. So,
oh, when he brings it up, I was saying if I was the woman, I was like, I'd be like, I was doing some research on you
because like
found
you,
this
you
little
go
thing.
in, yeah, absolutely. Like what number date does he bring it up?
Oh yeah, I mean, if I'm him, I'm trying to get that out of the way immediately. But he probably, I mean, you probably wait a little. You probably try to get to know the person a little bit.
Because yeah, that's kind of a deal breaker, right?
Yeah.
So just want to throw this out there. They found me in a trunk, but the reason why I was in the trunk with my own urine was because my last wife, I didn't end so well.
It's so dark.
God. Crazy.
I honestly think that's the litmus test. If somebody agrees to date you and hasn't figured that out about you already, then that's kind of on them.
I said, Louis, hey, people make mistakes, man.
Louis is a little bit more forgiving than I am, I guess.
Yeah.
I can forgive the guy and also not want to be within 50 yards of him.
Oh gosh.
If I'm
like the show.
Yeah.
See, this is why I like Rock and Rando, because we went from Jake Delhomme to that.
Yeah, that's
That's
good.
That's a good
flagship for the new game. I like that.
There you go, Ashley. That is not a mistake.
Ashley makes a great point. Actually, hard to mistakenly do that.
How do you how do you feel about murder?
Yeah, like what's your temperature on murder?
What do you should murderers be forgiven? Like, what do you mean? Give me some context. Well, so
how do you feel about familicide?
Oh God! All right, that's where we end it. So. Great show today. Let's see what the week has in store. Make sure you hit that like button, like the show, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and then also give us a 5-star Google review. And we'll check you guys tomorrow on a Tuesday. Buck Rising live tonight on A to Z Sports Primetime. Appreciate it as always. More content to come later this week. Catch you guys later. Thanks.